Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Time About the Movies Flashback. And today we're flashing back to July 24th, 1987. We got 4 films to look at today, a couple of notable movies, some notable flops, all across the board here. So let's not waste any more time and let's just go ahead and jump on into it. We'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend. And there was a point 10 years ago when a movie starring Superman would have been the biggest new release of the weekend, but tells you how far the Man of Steel has come when he's being beat out by a lackluster Mark Harmon comedy called Summer School.
Harmon, you need an intelligent, sensitive man who can skate. Kirstie Alley, do you know such a guy? Oh, they're hard to find. In the Oceanfront High Summer School class of '87. They're as smart as you and me. You and I. All of us. Paramount Pictures presents a new film by Carl Reiner, Summer School. I love this film. It had passion, plucky spirit. Dave, I agree with you. Thumbs up from me. Same here. To sum it up, I'm Chainsaw. I'm Dave. We'll see you at the movies.
Yeah, no thumbs are going up anywhere near this fucking movie. This is a terrible film. Mark Harmon stars as a high school gym teacher who is forced to teach a remedial English class during the summertime. And, he's got a love interest in Kirstie Alley. This is a few months before she became the new female star of Cheers when Shelley Long left. This was still about 6-7 weeks away from the season premiere. And, this was really the first time a lot of people were seeing her being billed as a leading actress in something. As far as I know, that's the case. And also you get an early glimpse of Courtney Thorne-Smith pre-Melrose Place and, of course, Ally McBeal. But other than that, though, the movie itself is pretty bland and forgettable overall. It's not a very good movie. It's a movie where I feel like everybody is miscasted in this film. This film feels more like a television series pilot than it is an actual movie. And Carl Reiner's directed a lot of good stuff overall. I mean, this is the guy that did Oh God, he did The Jerk, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, The Men with Two Brains. But this was sort of the beginning of the downward trend for him as far as a director. We've talked about some of his lesser films since this film came out. Burt Rigby, You're a Fool, Sibling Rivalry, Fatal Instinct, That Old Feeling. We've talked about it on this show, and we've also talked about it on Time About the Movies several times before. But, before this, we had Summer Rental, which was not bad, but definitely one of the lesser John Candy movies. But it was at least more tolerable than a movie like this. This just, like I said, it feels like a film that is basically just a pilot for a television series that was blown up for the big screen. Hell, it's even got a television writer as one of its creators, Jeff Franklin, who did Full House. And Paramount put more effort into promoting this film than it did for their much better movie Centered at the Beach, Back to the Beach, which came out a couple weeks after this, and it didn't do well at all. That's the far superior movie, but this is a bad movie. This is a lackluster comedy, and this is not a very good movie. This is not a film that holds up very well over time. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was all that good overall. A hard skip on Summer School. So, but this is the movie that beat out the next movie that we have here, a film that I have gone into detail long enough on. But here he is, folks, the Man of Steel at his absolute worst on the big screen.
The greatest hope against the threat of nuclear war is Superman.
I'm going to do what our governments have been unwilling or unable to do. Effective immediately, I'm going to rid our planet of all nuclear weapons.
The greatest threat to Superman is Lex Luthor.
Smarter than I thought. We can make the world safe for war profits.
He's created the ultimate weapon to annihilate the Man of Steel.
You risk worldwide nuclear war for your own personal financial gain.
Nobody wants war. I just want to keep the threat alive. Man of Steel. Where are you gonna get it? You know you're a workaholic. Why don't you stop and smell the roses, huh?
Superman 4, Christopher Reeve, Gene Hackman, Jackie Cooper, John Cryer, with Mariel Hemingway and Margot Kidder as Lois Lane. Superman 4, his most important adventure, the quest for peace.
Ah, yes, our old friend Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. This is the film, of course, where, as you see in the trailer, Superman is basically telling everybody, I'm going to stop nuclear war by getting everybody to give up their weapons, and surely nothing bad will go wrong here. But of course, when Lex Luthor is in town, you know it's going to get bad. And of course, he creates Nuclear Man, and yeah, I've delved into this movie long enough. I just did a video talking about this as one of my worst movies of all time. This is really one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. And this is coming out in the year when, everyone was celebrating the 50th anniversary of the creation of Superman. I mean, it's perfect. It's perfect because this and the movie that's going to be talked about on next week's show that came out the week before this, which were two of the movies that got us to the summer blockbuster season that this was becoming in the 80s. It's fitting that both of these movies that were pioneers when their first films came out have now regressed to such incredible lows, both in the same summer, by the way. And yeah, this is a film where this is the first time that the Salkinds had no involvement in the film whatsoever. And so the Canon Company came in, and it was just a film that was just a disaster all over the place. There's videos I've talked about this before, about how bad this movie is. It's so bad. The effects are so terrible. The effects are so terrible. Like, you could tell everything was cut down. The budgets, the magic that was there from the first Superman film is completely gone. And it's amazing that they were thinking about doing another one after this one, because good lord. Like, if you can't even let Lois Lane, Margot Kidder is Lois Lane in the movie. Like, in Superman 3, she's gone through half the movie, and yet she's more believable in that film than she is in this movie. The fact that they had to redo the flying scene all over again with even lesser of a budget and really bad looking CG visual effects. I mean, the scene where Superman and Nuclear Man are flying out the building, and it looks like something out of a bad video game. I mean, the Statue of Liberty scene. I mean, everything about this movie is a disaster. Everything about this movie is a mess. I've gone into great detail on this movie on another video, so if you want to go check that out, please go check the link on the corner there. That's where I can give you a full, detailed explanation of how bad this movie is, because let me tell you something, it's pretty bad. Now, if I had to choose between which one was the worst of the two films that killed a franchise that was a pioneer in the 70s, I'd probably say this is the lesser one. What's the other one? Well, like I said, we will get to that one on next week's show, but in the meantime, let's go ahead and get to the one movie this weekend that I have seen that is actually pretty good, and that is Esai Morales, which I think I said Edward James Olmos was in this, but I think I'm wrong on that. But I was wrong on that. I believe this is Esai Morales in La Bamba.
It's got heart.
All our dreams are gonna come true.
It's got soul. It's got good times.
Richie's got a song headed for the top of the charts with a bullet.
And most of all,
Hello, baby.
rock and roll. It's La Bamba, an American success story. Rated PG-13. Advanced preview Saturday, select theaters.
And yet, I'm still wrong. Well, Esai Morales technically is in this movie, but no, it's Lou Diamond Phillips as Richie Valens. Of course, this is the story covering the career of Richie Valens, who had on the lives of half of his half brother Bob Morales, played by Esai Morales, his girlfriend Donald Ludwig, played by Rosanna de Soto, and the rest of his family. The film is titled after a traditional Mexican folk song of the same name, which Valens transformed into a rock and roll rendition in 1958. And yeah, I may have gotten the names wrong on here, but I cannot deny how good this movie is, because this is a really impressively made film. It's a really good biopic. Esai Morales, good lord, I did it again. It's Lou Diamond Phillips. God damn. Okay. Lou Diamond Phillips. Okay. Lou Diamond Phillips as Richie Valens is really good, and it does show what he's capable of as a leading actor that we see later on down the road. And yeah, it's a really good biopic. It features a lot of really good talents all across the board. Elizabeth Pena, Joe Pantoliano, Brian Stelter in here. They have a lot of the people from, they have the Big Bopper, Richie Valens, and who's the other one who was in the Buddy Holly. They do it's because this is based off the day the music died, and of course the day that eventually led to the song American Pie. And yeah, it's a really good movie. This is directed by Luis Valdez, who had a very stylistic, cool-looking film that came out earlier in the 80s called Zoot Suit, which was not the best movie overall, but it was a stylish, cool-looking film, and you definitely get to see a lot of that with this film in general. I think it's a very impressively put-together film. The soundtrack is great. There's a great rendition of La Bamba from, who does the soundtrack for this? I can't remember who it was. Los Lobos. God damn, I need to do my research before I get on the air here, because this is getting ridiculous. But Los Lobos does a great rendition of La Bamba, and I thought it was a very good, I think it's a really good rendition of the song, and I think it's one that still very much holds up to this very day. And, yeah, not much more to say about this one, but it's a really damn good movie. And supposedly they're remaking it, too. I don't know who they're going to get to work on it, but, I mean, it could be pretty interesting to see this story done in a modern setting, but with a modern director, I should say. Not a modern setting, but, I mean, we'll see what happens. For all I know, it could end up being like every other bad musical biopic. Every other cliched musical biopic, I should say. But anyway, yeah, that's La Bamba. A really good film. One that you should definitely check out. It's definitely worth it. And it's probably the best movie that came out this entire weekend. So, with that said, let us go ahead and take a look at the last film that I have here. And that's Emily Lloyd starring in Wish You Were Here.
You're a pretty young thing. You're funny, but you're pretty.
She had the face of an angel.
Is there nothing you can do? She's a difficult case.
The mouth of a sailor.
Look what you've done to my hair!
Oh, shut up, you silly fat cow. You can always wear a hat.
Ashamed to be your father.
The heart of a little girl.
Where's that kiss for your dad, Linda?
Can you
I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen this movie before, heard of this movie before, but just by that alone, it makes me want to see the film. You have a story about Emily Lloyd playing a girl who's coming of age in a small coastal town in post-war England, and it's based on the formative years of a British madam, Cynthia Payne, and you also have Tom Bell, Jeffrey Hutchins, and Jesse Birdsall. And like I said, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't say if it's any good or not, but just by that alone, I kind of want to see it because it just looks pretty funny overall. And Emily Lloyd's kind of an underrated actress overall. I've seen her in a lot of stuff I actually did like. In Country. What was another one that she was in? I can't remember what it was, but I've seen her in movies where she's been really good. And this might be something that might be right up my alley. I don't know anything else about this movie in general, but it's definitely got my interest overall. So, again, not much more to say about this one because I haven't seen it, so wish you were here. And so, with all of that said, we're going to wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies Flashback. Next time, we will flashback to the 17th of July, 1987, with 6 movies, and technically 5 new releases, 1 classic film. Paul Verhoeven's RoboCop is one of the films we'll take a look at. We'll take a look at the 50th anniversary re-release of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and what was that other pioneering 70s blockbuster franchise that faded into obscurity in the late 80s? Jaws the Revenge. We will take a look at that one. We'll also take a look at Good Morning Babylon, Ping Pong, and Rita Sue and Bob 2. So, we'll take a look at all those movies coming up on next week's show. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please go ahead and hit the playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, notification button, and the bell. You get updates on new videos when they come out, and we do post new videos here every day. Now, with all that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.